LeBron has said he's wanted to own the Vegas expansion team for the longest time, but he took one look at the price tag and said, nope, I'm out. I'm your host Kyle, and welcome to Basketball Business, where we uncover the off-court money moves that make the on-court plays. Today, we're talking about the Vegas ownership situation for their new expansion team, why casino integration is integral to that team's survival, whether the market can actually handle another professional sports team, and then rapid fire hitting some other dynamics around expansion, like watering down the league and what teams will move to the Eastern Conference. Let's get right into it. 3 groups want the Vegas expansion franchise. 2 of them matter. Magic Johnson's group, called the MAGI, or maybe it's Magi, is the most visible. They're meeting with the governor, scouting arena sites, doing the whole 9 yards of the press circuit. Magic is great at this part, but his net worth is around $1.6 billion, and the expansion fee could hit $10 billion. That's like showing up to a Lamborghini dealership with Toyota Camry money. You need friends to help fund the purchase. So he's assembling outside equity, including Las Vegas-based billionaire Mike Bellin, but the financial structure of this group is still very much TBD. Bill Foley is the quieter play and probably the stronger one. He owns the Vegas Golden Knights, as well as 15% of T-Mobile Arena where they play, and has $300 million committed for NBA spec renovations there. This man bought an expansion hockey franchise for $500 million in a city that has never seen snow and turned it into a $2.1 billion Stanley Cup champion in 6 years. He spends to the salary cap every year. The third group, ran by LeBron James and Fenway Sports Group, are done. FSG saw the $7 to $10 billion fee and said, absolutely not. 2 days later, a reporter asked LeBron if he's still interested in owning an NBA team.
Is that still something big picture that you're interested in?
His $1.4 billion net worth was never going to carry a bid this size without FSG writing the real checks. So that dream is dead.
It ain't our ball. It ain't our ball. It ain't our ball. It's our ball, ain't it? It's our ball!
In every NBA market, the arena is the real money maker. You sell tickets, you sell beer, you sell corporate sponsorship signage, and hope to break even. In Vegas, it's the opposite. The arena is bait to make money in areas right outside of the arena. T-Mobile Arena is a proof of this concept. Built for $375 million with private money, it sits between 2 MGM properties. So a Vegas Golden Knight game lets out, fans walk directly into the casinos, restaurants, and bars that MGM owns on both sides. It's become the world's top-grossing arena for venues over 15,000 people capacity. MGM doesn't give a shit if the arena itself turns a profit, because every event is a funnel pumping foot traffic into properties where the real margins live. That's not a sports business model. That's a casino business model with a hockey team attached to it. And right down the strip is an example of what happens when you don't do it. The Sphere is a living embodiment of how not to monetize Vegas arenas in the 21st century. James Dolan spent $2.3 billion building the most technologically impressive venue on earth and stacked up over $1.18 billion on operating losses before it finally turned a profit last quarter. Why? The Sphere sits on VC Properties land, where they own no hotels, no restaurants, and no casino. So when a concert ends, people walk out, and every dollar they'd spend for the rest of the night goes to someone who isn't James Dolan. He built the world's most expensive billboard for other people's businesses. It's a really cool arena though. Any NBA arena in Vegas without casino resort integration is just a very expensive Sphere with worse acoustics. The Cube, maybe? Foley's T-Mobile renovation is the fast path, cheapest and quickest, but the NBA team becomes a tenant in MGM's building. A new build gives you control, but costs billions to make and takes years of construction in a city that already has more cranes than pigeons. That tension will define who wins the bid. More tension I've been thinking about. Can the entertainment capital of the world support yet another professional sports team? The Golden Knights worked because they were there first. First major pro team in Vegas history. Cold arena in a hot city. Immediate success on the ice. They've sold out all home games in almost a decade of play. The Raiders work because scarcity does the heavy lifting with them. They have 10 home games counting preseason. Each one is basically a bachelor party with a football game attached. Opposing fans fly in from Dallas, Miami, and Chicago, use the game as an excuse for a Vegas weekend trip, and owner Mark Davis gets to charge destination pricing. I did that exact scheme to watch Mac Jones take a safety and sell a parlay when my Patriots played in Vegas in 2023. The stadium fills up even though the Raiders have been mediocre at best since they moved to Vegas in 2020. An NBA team has 41 home games, many of them during the working week, against teams like the Wizards or Kings. You're just not selling a destination experience for an expansion team on a weeknight. You're competing against hockey, baseball when the A's show up, the Sphere, Adele's residency, whatever Cirque du Soleil show is running, clubbing and spending 6 figures on alcohol, gambling, and honestly, just the option of sitting by a pool because it's Vegas and that's free. Tourism has dropped 7.5% last year. The Metro is 2.4 million people in the 40th ranked media market. So why even bother? Because the bull case scenario has real upside potential to make Vegas one of the top 10 most valuable NBA franchises. Premium seats will be sold to high rollers and corporations running conferences. Casino comps will be subsidizing ticket prices so the resort makes it back on the floor. Star-driven opponent marketing where every Lakers or Warriors game sells itself and you package the rest of them. The Aces have proved that a winning team in Vegas becomes a genuine civic identity. AJ Wilson can't go to Target anymore without getting mobbed. If the NBA team is good early, the market will respond just like it did with the WNBA. The bear case is that you're asking locals who have infinite entertainment options to care about a basketball team that probably won't be good to start for 41 nights a year when they literally could just go gamble on the team instead. The tourists aren't flying to Vegas to watch you play the Pacers on a random Wednesday. They're flying to Vegas to do Vegas things and maybe catch a game if the opponent is interesting or the stars aren't sitting out. That's a fundamentally different demand curve than what the Vegas Golden Knights rose to multiple years of sellouts. If this kind of sports business insight is interesting to you, subscribe, because that's all we do here at Basketball Business. There are a few more expansion dominoes worth knowing about, starting with the Seattle ownership group and their arena dynamics. Basically, the group most likely to get the Seattle expansion team is the Seattle Kraken hockey team with a basketball jersey on. Samantha Holloway is running the show after inheriting the franchise from her late father, David Bonderman. Movie producer Jerry Bruckheimer is still involved because apparently producing Pirates of the Caribbean and owning hockey teams aren't enough hobbies. They have Amazon CEO Andy Jassy as a minority investor, and they also have the sons of former SuperSonics owner Barry Ackerley as bringing in historical continuity to that group. Climate Pledge Arena already has an NBA locker room built into the lower levels. They spent $50 million on NBA spec features during the $1.15 billion renovation. Arena CEO Todd Lewicki has publicly said they built it specifically to accommodate basketball. No competing Seattle ownership group has emerged. This is Holloway and the Kraken's bid to lose. Talking about conference realignment, when you add 2 teams to the West, that means there would be 15 teams in the East and 17 teams in the West as it currently stands, so you only need to move 1 team from the West to the East to balance the conferences at 16 teams each. There are 3 candidates to move: Minnesota, New Orleans, and Memphis, and Minnesota wins this argument easily, and it has nothing to do with on-court performance. 6 Eastern Conference cities are all closer to Minneapolis than Denver, which is the Wolves' nearest current Western Conference opponent. Memphis and New Orleans both have short flights to each other and the 3 Texas teams, which keeps them naturally connected to the West. This should really excite Wolves fans. Less travel, natural rivalries with Chicago and Milwaukee, and playing in a conference where 500 ball gets you to the playoffs, not in a dogfight in the play-in tournament. It definitely helps that they have an exciting young superstar in Anthony Edwards and a good supporting cast around him that would raise the profile of the Eastern Conference on-play product, but that's really a short-sighted estimation for why you should move a team to the Eastern Conference. This, in theory, is a perpetual move. If we were thinking about it, that framing and expansion was happening a few years ago, we would say the same for Memphis and Ja Morant. And now, look at them.
No one in the West.
Nah, I'm fine in the West.
Barring something unforeseen like trading Luka Doncic 9 months after he led you to the finals, the SuperSonics are back. The 2008 settlement, where the franchise moved to Oklahoma City, stipulated that the SuperSonics name, colors, logos, and history transfer to any new Seattle NBA team at no cost. So that means Gary Payton, Sean Kemp, the 1979 championships, all of it goes home. Oklahoma City retroactively becomes an expansion franchise with their history starting in 2008, the same way Charlotte reclaimed the Hornets history from New Orleans in 2014. We'll be doing a full video on the Seattle reallocation story soon because the leaked emails from Clay Bennett ownership group are genuinely insane. Quick cap nerd note: expansion teams get excluded from the basketball-related income calculation and the salary cap divisor for their first 2 years in the league. In plain English, their entry doesn't mess with the salary cap for existing teams. The league watched and learned from the 2016 cap spike when TV money flooded in too fast and broke the entire free agent market. The reduced expansion cap, 66% in year 1 and 80% in year 2, plus these accounting exclusions exist to prevent a repeat like what happened 10 years ago. And I need to address this one because I keep seeing it. Expansion will water down the league and add 2 more bad teams when there's already a bunch of bad teams at the bottom. No, not at all. Those teams are purposely trying to be bad. They have good players and they're just not playing them. Utah is sitting starters in the 4th quarter of games they're winning. Washington has cap space and won't spend it, and their stars mysteriously re-aggravate injuries when they play other tanking teams. The Pacers aren't bad because there's no talent available. They're bad because being bad is the optimal strategy under current lottery rules. Meanwhile, the international pipeline is wider than it's ever been, players are healthier and playing longer, and you've got guys in Europe and Australia right now who would be rotation NBA players today if those spots existed. 2 expansion teams aren't diluting anything. The talent pool has grown faster than the league has. If you want to fix the bottom of the standings, fix the incentive to tank. That's a completely separate conversation from expanding the league, and we'll have that conversation later on, so make sure you're tuned in and follow us on social media. Thanks for watching this video on the Vegas expansion landscape and the fallout of the NBA going to 32 teams. This is part 3 in our series. Part 1 was talking about the business case for expansion, and part 2 was talking about the loopholes that an expansion team will have to build their rosters out. If you enjoyed or learned something new, please like, comment, and share with someone you think would enjoy. Subscribe to Basketball Business for more great videos on how the off-court moves shape the on-court game of basketball. Until next time, this is Kyle with Basketball Business.